There's a million things you could be doing. You're busy, and yet you keep coming back, or you have tuned in. Maybe someone told you that there's some life-altering shit I'm talking about over here, and I hope that that's the case. Or maybe you found me on YouTube or whatever it is. I'm grateful, and I always am meticulous about what I talk about to make sure I'm bringing them as much value as possible. So last week, I don't know if you listened to last week, maybe I should re-listen to it, because I started to formulate a process that I didn't know was unfolding for me in my own journey of healing, in my own journey of chasing what I needed to fix me, okay? That I didn't even know I was actually doing, and that I help my clients with. And I talked about frameworks last week, and in the last 7 days, what has happened is going to be monumental for me, for my coaching business, and for anyone that works with me. Because what unfolded in the last 7 days is the method, is a fine-tuned method of how I now help my clients. And it's going to unfold today. I'm going to explain it. And so I'm going to explain how this happened, what the pathways are now versus last week. They were not completed. They were still unfolding, and I didn't know it then, but now they are solidified, and how I came about that. Because I'm about to teach this retreat in 2 days about how to become unstoppable. And the content that I started with a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, it's built in this framework, but it has become way more high level in how it's delivered, but it's delivered in a very simplified system, a very simplified way, because I don't want to make anything hard for my clients. Doing this work can feel hard enough. This is a simple, structured method to get you from point A to point B that I didn't know I was building, but I created what I needed, and I'm going to go into that. So last week I talked about frameworks that you need to get unstuck. What I'm realizing in real time is this is about identity. We have an identity that our nervous system feels safe in. If you have an identity of making a certain amount of money, and then now you want to make 3 times that, you have to create safety in your own body first in order to bring that money into your life. If you want to be a certain weight, but you've been 185 pounds for most of your life, and now you want to drop to 150 pounds and you're struggling. You drop 15 pounds and then you gain 5, and then you drop 15 pounds and then you gain 10, right? Or if you've gotten 5 pounds away and you keep gaining those 5 pounds back over and over and losing it over. This is an identity thing. This is not a discipline thing. Same with starting the business. If you have an identity of being a corporate something, and now you want to start a business, your nervous system and your mind are like, this is not who we are. We are not this person. And it will pull you back into being the person that it knows it's safe to be. And all this is about going from stuck to unstoppable. That's all this is. But the root of it is identity. It's identity work. And it just, for me, makes it so much more fun. Like, I knew that I was in an identity that was pulling me back. I mean, I knew that. This framework, this method comes from my own life experience, starting at the age of 4, when I was hiding food under my bed and thought I was a problem, thought I was too much, thought I was a burden, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that resonate with that. Every single one of my clients that lands, a lot of them, maybe not every single one, but a lot of them lands. I am too much. I am making too much noise. I'm a burden. And I thought I was a burden to the world because I was a problem. I mean, I'm talking 4 or 5 years old. And immediately what I did was I created connection and safety with food. That was my connection and safety that I was not getting from my parents. I didn't know, and they did not know, that they were doing that to me, but that's what was happening internally. I was a highly sensitive kid, which, does these things to highly sensitive kids. If you have a highly sensitive kid, or you think you do, read the books about highly sensitive kids. Make sure you're understanding them. If you value making them feel safe in their high emotion. Okay? I'm a highly sensitive adult, and I used to think that this was it's amazing. I used to think that this was such a flaw. And now I'm like, holy crap, it was my superpower. Everything our mind tells us about who we are is usually a freaking lie, and the opposite is true. And I'm going to kind of prove that to you with this episode. So I'm going to break down two things. When you are stuck in an identity, what to do. And the framework I use is what to do. But I'm going to explain it to you differently than last week. I'm going to connect so many dots here and then explain how I saw this happening unfold in real time. I'm literally not the same person today that I was 7 days ago. And I'm going to explain to you in so many different ways. Why? Because it was very odd for it to unfold the way it did, and it's still downloading for me, and I'm still figuring it out. But what I do know is I've hit a master level in how I can explain to my clients why they are where they are and move them through safely, no matter where they are, move them through safely into being the person that they actually want to be, or having the thing they want to have. Okay, and I'm going to break this down. And I don't know how much I mentioned last week. So I know that I probably mentioned disconnection. Your brain, here's the deal. I'm going to say all the things, and just, it is what it is. But the brain is not wired for internal safety. The brain is wired for external safety. It does not value internal safety, and internal safety is where the magic happens. The brain is wired for external safety because it's the fastest way to get safety. And because of our beliefs and because of how our experiences and all those things, our outer experiences with parents who were disconnected from themselves because they have a human brain that's pulling them into their survival, into their external safety. We have parents, or just how we process the world through a brain that's looking to survive externally. We created beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about our capabilities, about who we are, how we should act from that disconnection. We are not fully connected to our truth when that happens because the brain is wired for external safety. Every time we look for external safety, we're disconnecting from our own connection of our own truth that's inside us. That's what's happening, and it's nobody's fault. You're no different than anybody else. This all happened to all of us. It happened to all of us. And so disconnection happens when the brain is leading. Okay? When that survival brain is leading, you are disconnected from yourself. Your brain doesn't want you to be connected to yourself because that's internal safety. And to your brain, that's not what keeps you alive. And so it's going to pull you from your own truth. It's disconnecting you from your own connection to yourself. What I have created is a framework that does several things, does a lot of things. Number one, it leads you back to you and the internal safety inside of you. And then it helps you relax, be calmer, be connected to your truth and who you are, have a self-trust, and then when you take the next step, whatever that step is that you want to take that your nervous system wouldn't let you take, it will let you take it because you are now fully connected to yourself and leading your mind from full connection versus not being aware and letting your brain, you're not even aware that it's happening. Your brain is just taking the reins and disconnecting you from yourself. When that happens, you're never going to level up. Or you're going to do it kicking and screaming and in burnout. And then when you get to the level you want to be at, you're not even going to believe you deserved it. Because it's coming from not enough. Because you're disconnected from yourself and your actual truth. Okay? That's what's happening. When you are connected to yourself, you are in secure internal safety. And when you feel safe inside your body, when you are fully connected to yourself, you know a few things happen. You know you can be and do anything. You relax into those ideas. And your higher self, this is what happened to me. Your higher self, your inner truth leads, and your wisdom expands. Your purpose expands. Your capacity expands to do hard things. Your capacity expands for making more money. And your inner wisdom expands, where all of a sudden things are so crystal clear to you that maybe they weren't before. You see things differently than you ever did. And when I invented this framework, I didn't know I was doing this. I was just hungry for growth. I was hungry for my next step. And this framework was built on my own failure. It was built on my own failure, because every time I had a setback, every time I landed in quote unquote disconnection and I picked up food, or I hid in my business, or it's procrastination. For me, it's hiding. I'll use the frame hiding, but it's just not showing up the way I wanted to. Some of it was hiding, just like not showing up in my life, or binging was a big one. Or I'd make a certain amount of money and then not show up in my business. Make a certain amount of money and then not show up, right? So I didn't make money consistently. I can make a lot of money in a month, but then that next month, my nervous system's gonna pull me back, because my nervous system didn't think it was safe to make the amount of money that I know I can make and that I know I wanna make. But my nervous system, in the identity I was in, didn't think it was safe. And I knew this was happening, and I was doing everything I could, every road, to free myself of it. Because I'm uber self-aware. I've been studying myself since I was 18. And which is an ongoing thing, because I kept changing. I kept evolving. As I grew up, became a mom, my patterns started to shift a little bit, but I was constantly studying myself. And this framework was born in my journey of quote unquote fixing myself. And the irony of that is, I never had to be fixed. I just had to come home. I just had to come home to me. I was chasing exterior safety because my brain was leading the show. When I looked finally to internal safety, and I'm going to explain the frameworks, I came home to me. I closed the loop, is how I phrase it. I closed the loop between the exterior and interior. There's a revolving door, right? We get distracted, we come back. We get distracted, we come back. Because or disconnected, we come back. Because we have a human brain, 60,000 thoughts a day is trying to pull us from ourselves. Okay? But the brain is malleable. The more I reconnected back to myself, I didn't know I was reconnecting, every failure. Disconnect, reconnect. And every time I did that, I got stronger and more knowledgeable, to the point where I closed my own loop for good. I am fully connected to myself. I understand what that means. I know when I'm being distracted, when my brain tries to disconnect me. And in real time, I use these frameworks to center myself and ground myself. And I'm doing it I'm doing it in a rapid pace. But that's okay. I've mastered this. I built it. I've mastered this. That means I can teach it, right? That's okay. And this is at a level that this is so teachable, because I've already started to coach my clients in this way, shaping my words. These are all concepts I've been taught and I've been teaching for a really long time, but now it's like at a master level. And with these frameworks, makes it visual for my clients. We are here, but we're moving here. Instead of coaching, which is still so freaking powerful, but not having something to look at like, oh, this is the next step. And we were doing that in our coaching calls, but not at the level of this framework. And so now I have a workbook that's going to take you through the frameworks, to answer questions, to understand yourself, and then understand each framework. So I mentioned what they were last week, but now this is a whole other level. Anybody who comes through me to coach with me, I'm going to send them to this episode. This is the groundwork. This is the new beginning of how I coach. This is it. And it feels so at home for me. It's coming because it's coming from my bones, because this is my life's work. I had to undo the identity of someone who has an eating disorder. I had to undo the identity of someone who has a chronic worry and anxiety. I had to undo the identity of someone who doesn't know how to make money, or that money is not safe. I sabotaged my relationship with money, okay? An addict. I understand addicts. And I understand being a doormat. I understand not being able to set boundaries. All of it was the culmination of me making this framework that I can help anyone get unstuck. Anyone. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life. You can enter it at any point in your life. You don't have to be a certain qualification. And also, I've gotten I've made friends with my shame. I've made friends with my shame and embarrassment. That belief that I'm the problem. We have an underlying belief that we are the problem. That we are a problem. We are our problem. And that we have to be fixed. This dismantles that. It dismantles that at the entry point. Because you're not the problem. And if you continue to think you're the problem, that is your brain disconnecting you from your own power, and it's keeping you stuck. That is your brain and nervous system in real time pulling you away from yourself by telling you you're the problem, because you're going to try to solve for the wrong thing. That's what I did. I kept trying to solve for the wrong thing, not knowing I was leading closer and closer with every failure to me. To me. And here's the evidence. Here's some of the evidence. Every room I was in that I was trying to heal, every book I read, every podcast, every meeting I went to for recovery, every time I had a therapy session, every coaching container I was in, every coach I hired, the common denominator was me. Me. And your brain's going to tell you that means you're the problem. But the inner truth is, it's because I was the solution and I was there every time. I was with me. I was with me in every single one of those rooms. That didn't mean I was the problem, though you might want to see it as that evidence. That is your brain disconnecting you from your own power. You'll never be able to heal in that thought and belief. We have to heal that thought and belief at the root. And that's what this framework does, because I understand shame. Shame says you're wrong. You're the problem. You're the mistake. And I've made friends with it. I sat in it. I cried in it. I got to know it so well that when you enter into this framework, you don't have to even relive the shame. We neutralize it at the root from the door. You don't have to even relive your shame. The shameful experiences, it's not even necessary, because we neutralize it quickly, because it's not you. It's your brain trying to protect you. It isn't you. It isn't you. The first pathway, there's 5 pathways. The name of my program is called The Return of You. That's what it's called. Because when your brain disconnects you, when your nervous system is disconnecting you from yourself, you leave. Your truth isn't present. It's present, but it's not leading. Okay? It's not leading. And so when you come back to you in this journey, in this framework, you're returning. You're returning. And one of the reasons why I named it this is because this fell out of my body. I used my body to name these frameworks, to the pathways, and to name the program. Every single word came from my body to name this program. The return of you was because when I was 23 years old, my husband at the time, we were dating, I broke up with him. I hit my bottom in food addiction. I ended up in recovery. And 6 months later, he saw me at a bar. And I had broke up with him. I did him dirty, man. And I ripped his heart out of his chest. But I was not right. I was in a very dark place when I hit my bottom before I walked into recovery for food addiction. And he saw me at a bar. And he doesn't remember, because I asked him. He doesn't remember saying this. But I said to him, he said to me, we were having a conversation. He hadn't seen me in 6 months, and I was in recovery, right? Clean from food addiction, basically. Not eating sugar and flour, high as a kite on life. Like I was back. And he said, you were gone, but you're back. I don't know where you went, but you were gone. And now I can see in your eyes that you're back. That is the kind of like the foundation of why I named it this. The return of you. Because you're back. You're leading now. The first framework is reflecting what was protection. Let me make sure, because I'm still remembering. Reflecting what was protection. And the reason why I named it that is because you are mirroring what your brain is trying to protect you from. Right? Your brain is trying to protect you by pulling you away from yourself. And you're reflecting it by living that. It is not you. It is your own mind trying to protect you from love to keep you alive. That's where we dismantle the shame. This is not you. And I just had a coaching call with one of my clients who has a ton of shame. And I walked her through this pathway intimately and intricately with each thought that her brain offered her that was shameful. Her brain wanted to push back. And let me offer you this. When your brain is offering you shame, you're not going to feel good. When your brain is offering you love, a loving thought, that's coming from you. That's connection to you. When it's coming from shame, or it feels like shit, it is a disconnecting thought. These frameworks, these pathways are paved with safety, love, and compassion. Because where love lives, shame cannot. And this is a framework that will dismantle shame so that you can heal and not have to relive your shit. And I'm saying that in a simple way. I understand it's not easy, but it is possible to do this work and not have to relive every event. Because how you showed up in your life is just a reflection of your own mind's protection. And that was coming from love to keep you alive. The next pathway is anchoring in self. There's 5. Anchoring in self. And that is where we connect internally to safety. To safety. Because we're chasing to fix. Chasing outside of us. And inside is where the answers are. How can we be the problem when inside is where the answer is? We're not the problem. We are the solution. You are the solution. And your brain is going to tell you the opposite. Oh, I'm different. She doesn't know what she's talking about, but she understands this work. I'm different. What if someone finds out that I'm really broken? Those are thoughts that your brain is using to pull you away from you. That's your brain in real time trying to protect you from doing this work, because your brain does not value inner safety. Your brain values external safety, and internal is where the true safety is. These pathways are your journey home back to you. And how can that not be the most beautiful thing in the world? Because when you are connected to you, there's nothing you can't do. Everything you do comes from love and compassion and calm, because you are solidified to yourself. You know you're enough. You don't have to yell and scream. You have patience. You feel grounded. You don't eat against your will. You don't drink against your will. You are your own best friend at that point. You have your back. And it is the most powerful humans on the planet. This is it. Connection to yourself. And it's a doable path. I mean, the framework I have that's going to walk you right through to back to you. And it will be the return of you. So the second one is anchoring in yourself. And so it's showing your body and your brain that it's safe to be internal. It's also a completeness about where you've been before, right? All the disconnection that's happened in the past and maybe the unforgiveness that's happening. We work through that. We create safety. We practice safety in the body. Okay? From neutralizing what our brain has done to us, shifting into internal safety, and then practicing and expanding that internal safety, because the next one is now moving into our truth of who we actually are, right? Which is the reason why we're not the person we want to be yet, is because our nervous system doesn't feel safe in that identity. But when we ground ourselves in the safety of who we are right now, we can build the capacity in our nervous system to create the safety for who we're becoming. And I've created the steps to do that. Like, I literally didn't know I was doing this. I was just healing myself with what I knew to do and what my body was telling me what to do next. And through failure, this is the framework that came to me, that I was like, I closed my loop. This is it. I found the way. And it was all leading me back to me in a way that I never saw coming. Though I was walking the path. I was walking the path. So the next one is reclaiming your belief. So you're taking your belief back from your own mind. Okay? And there are no thought police. You get to believe whatever you want. And when you reconnect back to safety in your body, the truth of what you want to believe becomes easier, becomes more clear, becomes more concise, and it's fucking fun, man. It is fucking fun to decide what you want to believe instead of what your brain is offering you. And I've said so many of these things in different podcasts, in different rooms. How many times have I said, don't let your brain lead you, you have to lead your brain? That's what this is. That is what this is. You are taking your brain back, and now this is self-leadership. And when we have purposeful self-leadership, moving into the next identity is simpler. It's way simpler. Okay? It's taking your brain back is pathway 1. Okay? Neutralizing what the brain is doing, taking your brain back. The second one is creating safety and connection into your body. The third one is now deciding what you want to believe, okay? Instead, reclaiming it, okay? It's like rediscovering your truth of who you actually are, because whatever beliefs you decide you want to believe, that comes from your intuition too. It really does. Everyone on this planet has an intuition. And when we uncover we quiet down the noise, when we uncover you little by little from what your brain is doing, and then you are creating safety in your body, your beliefs will naturally be revealed to you. When you feel unsafe and not enough, your beliefs are skewed because you're looking at the world through a lens of I'm not enough. When you are grounded in your body, in your enoughness, that you feel safe and sufficient in your body, you exude enoughness. And then your beliefs are very different. They're more neutral. They're more empowered. Self-leadership, because you trust who you are. That is the next path. Reclaiming your belief. The next pathway is leading from your truth. And this is where identity work comes in. You create, in my program, right, in my framework, method, you create an identity blueprint declaration of who this person is you're becoming. And everybody's is different. And it's based on the beliefs that you have, right? They are connected. The beliefs you have about you, about where you're going, about your capabilities, about your life, about what you've created, about what you're capable of creating. And then who is the person that lives from that place? It is so fun. This was my last step. And I did 2 weeks ago, I did an episode about the last thing you need to do if you're not leveling up. It's identity work. You're creating an identity that feels safe to step into because you've created safety in your nervous system. So your nervous system trusts you. Your nervous system trusts that where you're going, you'll be okay. He or she will be okay because you are there. I know it sounds wild, but this is the truth. You have different parts of you. Your nervous system is a part of you. And if your nervous system doesn't feel safe taking that step, it will pull you back. I have created pathways that neutralize the fear and the disconnect, reconnecting you back to yourself so that your nervous system feels grounded and trusts you and where you're going. So that when you create that identity, there's tactics and skills inside of it that I would teach you, and it's in my workbook, which is part of my program, but you make that identity, and I shared this 2 episodes ago, you have to feel activation in your body. The energy of the identity is what activates you and also the universe, right? It's law of attraction too. That is the 4th pathway, leading from your truth, which means taking action from that identity. And the brain and the universe loves clarity. So exactly what he or she looks like as far as clothing, how much money they make, what they do with their money, what do they believe about themselves, what do they believe about their body, what do they believe about their money, their kind of home they live in, how do they talk at work, how do they talk to their kids, like everything. Make a blueprint. And then practice sitting in it. You practice sitting in it. And then you're taking action space from that person. You are, every decision, mine is my connected CEO. That's my identity blueprint declaration. She is called the connected CEO. And I made this 4 weeks ago. Not even realizing, though I knew, connection is everything. I want to be connected in my life. I want to be connected to me. I want to be connected to my clients. I want to be connected to my husband, to my daughter, to my friends, every conversation. I want to be connected to every fucking moment I live. It's possible. I'm doing it. I'm connected in every single moment. I'm very aware of my body. I'm very aware when I'm being pulled out of the moment by my own brain, but I've mastered this. Not knowing I was mastering it. And that's okay. I can lead. I can teach because I've mastered it. The last one is returning to yourself. And that's twofold. So once you lead from your truth, that is who you really truly are meant to be. That is your truth. That is your home of who you truly are. When your brain stops derailing you to protect you, when your brain realizes, I don't have to protect her anymore, right? It will happen less and less, but it will still happen. Okay, it will still happen because your brain is wired deep for external safety, and especially when triggers come up. But twofold, returning to yourself is your return to yourself because you've stepped into your identity of who you're always meant to be. You're returning home to you. And let me tell you something, a few things. When I returned home to me, everything clicked. Everything clicked. Every time I have an urge to eat, I'm fully present and I feel it and I ground myself in my safety. And I'm like, I'm good. Urges have dissipated. Urges to get really angry. When we are fully connected to ourselves, we are leading from self. We are grounded in enoughness. That creates an enormous amount of quiet, calm confidence. Like true confidence is not loud. True confidence is not braggy. True confidence is like a quiet knowing, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. And when you come from that place, because our thoughts create our results, which is where I've always said, okay, our thoughts create our results. When we are in alarm, when we are in disconnect, when we are coming from doubt and fear and not enoughness, very different things come out of our mouth because we feel different things. Those thoughts create awful feelings, and then we're speaking from that place of awfulness. When you are connected back to yourself and you have a calm, inner, connected knowing and a calm confidence, the clarity that comes out of your mouth will baffle you. The things that I have said in the last 5 days, how clear I can speak in a conversation, I can speak my honest question, I can speak crystal clear why I said what I said. I do this with my daughter, my husband. The more you practice that, the more inner knowing you'll be connected to, and the less likely you are to be, I'm going to say, to become stuck, right? Which is just a disconnection that your brain is pulling you from. I want to give you an example. And this is how I knew that this framework worked. And it doesn't just work for me. This framework works for every human on the planet who is disconnected from themselves because their brain is leading them and they don't know it. Or if you're so freaking frustrated that you can't level up, this is the road, because it really covers every piece of it. It covers the mindset. It covers the body-mind connection. It covers exactly what you have to believe to move into the new identity, and then the safety in your own body and the actual identity creation of where you're going. The nervous system wants direction. This was something else I didn't realize. I wasn't giving my nervous system direction. Once I created that identity blueprint for myself, I did that for myself because it felt fun. Once I created that identity blueprint, my nervous system knew where to go. It wasn't just wandering out there like, where am I supposed to feel safe? Now it's like, oh, this is where we land. Yes, okay, I get this. Okay? And then you become you, but the returning to yourself is a loop, okay? I created something called the release and return. Release and return. Inside this big framework is a fractional framework of every time your brain offers you a doubt, a fear, an urge, an impulse. It's a moment to abandon yourself. That's what it is. Okay? Every time I ate against my will, every time I said, I'm not going to eat that, and then I eat it, that is abandoning yourself. Every time you say, I'm going to set the boundary, and then you talk yourself out of it. Every time you say, I'm going to stand up for myself at work, and then you don't, you're abandoning yourself. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain overrode you to protect you because it thought that would kill you. Right? It's a step between two identities, especially if you've never done it before. Okay? So I created the release and return, and this is why. Last week I'm trying to make this short, but this is why I am so shame. My brain offers me shame almost every day. Almost every day. It's wired in me from a very young age. 4 years old. I'm 47. Okay? I've been doing this, I've been listening to my shameful thoughts and obeying them for fucking years, man. But 3 years ago, I started to dismantle them. 3 years ago, I separated myself from my patterns and said, okay, I am not the pattern. I'm not the behavior. There's a reason that the behavior is there, and it's protecting me. I knew this 3 years ago. And then I analyzed every time I had a setback in the behavior. It was no longer me. It was the behavior I was looking at and why I was doing it. And every time I failed and went back to the drawing board, I learned a little bit more. Every time I ate, every time I binged, every freaking time. Or every time I hid in my business, I studied it. And I didn't know I was doing, like, I just was like, I need to fix this. 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 Like, that was the ongoing tape. So I want to take you back to last week. I want to tell you this story and then I'm going to roll. But this is how I knew this framework was working for me in real time, and I had mastered it. I kill plants. I mean, I just do. I don't, and I'm trying to dismantle why. I'm trying to figure out why I don't value watering plants. My body freaks out when I water plants. It's like, this has no value. You need to spend your time doing other things, right? And I'm still figuring this out. But I water them, but I don't know anything about them. I don't know how much water they need, nothing. So my husband brought plants in from the outdoors, and he's going to try to winterize some things that he's never done before. My husband is a green thumb. If you see our home and you see how beautiful the flowers and the grass is, I take credit for none of it, like none of it. He does it in spite of me. So he brought in some plants, and then his mom died, and she had 1 million plants. And so we took one of hers, and we took a few other things. And I'm like, oh God, I have so much pressure now to keep his mother's plant alive. Like, this was a big deal. And so I paid attention. He said, every Thursday, you're going to water the plants. And I was like, okay. Thursday came, I watered them. Well, the following Wednesday, which was last week, he checked them in the morning and they were dry. And one of them looked dead. And I did not realize this. My brain immediately offered me shame. You're fucking 47 years old. You can't keep plants alive. There is something fucking wrong with you. Okay? And that's what my brain offered me. And in real time, I heard it. In real time, I felt like a fucking loser. And then in real time, I was like, wait. I paused. And I did this very quickly. I grounded myself in safety in my body. And then by doing that, I was able to move to what's actually true. And then I spoke what I actually believe from the identity of someone who doesn't let shame run her life. And how do I know that I transitioned out of shame into my identity of someone who doesn't even entertain shame? Was I didn't say I am a fucking loser. I am a worthless piece of shit. I didn't come from that voice. What came out of my mouth was, I am not the problem. We need a better system. That's what came out of my mouth. And it felt like deep inner truth. It didn't feel foreign. It didn't feel fake. It felt like, oh, of course, I am not the problem. Because I grounded myself in the safety of who I am, knowing I'm not the problem, knowing that my brain is offering me shame, and knowing what's actually happening. Because I ground myself in my truth, I can see the world neutrally, not from a lens of, I fucked up. And then I said to him, we need a better system. Some plants need more water, some don't. And as trivial as it feels like, well, I don't know how much water certain plants need. That's a skill. So teach me, right? I came from that place, not I'm awful, throw them all out, I'm just a waste of space. Like, that's shame. That's shame. And then I saw, and what it's called is a release and a return. Release and return. I released the shameful thought and I returned back to me. And you do that over and over in a loop. And the more you do it, the better you get. And we don't master this from the very beginning. I've mastered it because I've been living it for 30 years. Recovery taught me so much about me and so much about addiction. And then I was coached for 8 years. And I coach myself constantly. I am constantly looking at why I do something. I'm analyzing my every move. And all of that created this framework that I am a master at. And I'm allowed to be the master. I'm the teacher. I'm teaching this framework. So this is the road to getting unstuck. This is it. From disconnection, recognize the disconnecting thoughts, create safety in your body for who you are. And once your body sees it's safe to be me, then it's going to feel safe with your next steps, because you're like, you're coming with me, right? Creating your beliefs of what's actually true. And I just think it's a remembering. It's a remembering from your inner truth. And so many, like my one client didn't see that she was actually coming from her inner truth. I showed it to her. You are a human being who has an intuition. This work for you is no different than this work for me or someone else. And if your brain is saying to you, they are smarter, I'm going to find out I'm not powerful, I'm going to be scared, I'm going to see a broken link and that I'm not capable, that is all your brain trying to pull you away from doing this. That's what that is in real time. Because you are a human being. We are biologically all the same. All the same. Relax into that. That maybe, possibly, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, if that's what you're thinking. So, this is what I do on a deeper level, right? Some of my identity work, I was doing tapping. I tapped through my identity work to really implement. And I don't know if you know what EFT tapping is, but I talked about that in my 2 episodes ago. So I wanted to share with you what's happening with me, what's possible for you, okay? When you do this work, what is possible for you? Only you can answer that. What is possible for you? What do you want to believe about your life? What are you trying to get unstuck from so you can accomplish? That's what I want to know. Like, I remember my first coach, and one of the reasons why reflecting what was protection is the first pathway is because I talked about this on one of my podcasts. Figuratively, my first coach held up 2 mirrors in front of me. One was what I was doing to myself, and I didn't know it. I was not aware. It wasn't me. It was my mind, right? She showed me the mirror of what I was doing to myself, and then the other mirror of what was possible for me. And that's why, and I described that from then on, that she held up those mirrors. She didn't do it physically. She did it figuratively to me. And from then, possibility was born in me. And I was fucking hungrier than I had ever been in the last 8 years to figure out my purpose. And when I closed the loop on myself and reconnected back to myself, all of these frameworks poured out of me. So, ironically, as I was trying to close my own loop and get reconnected to myself, which I didn't know I was doing, I was just trying to get unstuck. My path to get unstuck brought me back to me, and in that time created a framework that helps anybody do the same. That is my purpose, is to teach this exact work, this exact method, the return of you method. That is my purpose, and that's what I've been chasing. And I discovered it. It was unleashed to me when I reconnected back to myself. The old identity would not have seen any of this. I closed my loop. I stepped into my new identity fully, and it all revealed to me, which is why I'm a different human today than I was 7 days ago, than I was 14 days ago. I'm even coaching at a different level. That is what's possible for you when you close your own loop. When you reconnect back to yourself, your inner wisdom will explode. And you will impact others the way you're probably meant to hear to impact. That's what happens. That's how powerful this work is. Identity work. I am now an identity coach. I'm a life coach and an identity coach because I can help you go from one identity that you're stuck in into the identity that is possible for you, that deep down you know is possible, that you are striving for. And it feels amazing. And I want to be the example to you that whatever that inkling is in your belly of why you know you're here, or that you're here for bigger things, it's possible. In fact, if you believe it, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. And this work is the proof of that. So that's it for me. I'm doing my retreat on Thursday, which will be the first time I'm teaching this live, in depth. And then this is it. These are what my coaching containers are going to be from now on. And it's ironic that it feels like home to me. This is home to me because I came home to me. And the last thing I want to offer is my 4-year-old, I chased for 43 years to fix me. And my 4-year-old in me gets to rest now because she never wanted to believe she was the problem. She truly wanted to believe that she was the solution, not the problem. And when I discovered that I am the solution and that I'm not the problem, I came home to myself. And so all of this work, every time I failed, every time I screamed to God that I couldn't take another breath, every time I picked myself up from shame, every fucking time, it's to honor that 4-year-old little girl. Everything is for her. And that solidifies me to me. And I am I will honor her and this work and the integrity of what I help my clients with from now until my heart stops beating. And what a gift that is for me and my life. I am honored. I am humbled. And I am super excited for what's coming. So that is it. If you have questions about this work, you can go to AllisonGallagher.com. My description of what I do with my clients is not even updated on that page yet. But everything on that page still is true. I take you from stuck to unstoppable because that's what that page says. But none of these frameworks are on that page yet. Probably sometime this month that will be updated. But this is all happening really quickly in real time. So if you have any questions, you can email me at coaching@AllisonGallagher.com and go to that page if you do want to learn more about what I do. I still do the things that are on that page, but it's all super intricate now on another level. And but you can sign up for a consult there. And I love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.